Oh my gosh, Cordell session was fantastic. It just fits in with all the things that we want to tell students about what they need to have as a great foundation for their life. Not just about the career, but of their whole life. So when I see that this guy is talking about mindset, about self-belief, about getting clear as to what you're thinking to do, it was fantastic. He's just an inspiration. I'd love to have him in school, really would.
In primary school was, obviously before in my primary years I was very creative, and I think in primary school they do, they kind of embrace your creativity. Growing up in I'd say the primary school years, I think one of the key moments for me was probably, I had to write. It was just simple things. Every school play that we had, I was always the leader of the school play. They always made me the main person, even though it was acting, but because of my vocal ability and my communication skills, I was always like the lead role of pretty much any play that we had at school. So I think then the teachers knew that, I had the ability, the way I was able to, talk, even though I was very young, even though I had the ability to talk with adults and communicate with the teachers quite well and quite, intellectual, I think they always said that, I had a lot of potential and I could go on to do great things. Well, my parents were quite, I came from, quite a cultural background. It was pretty much funny. My dad was Muslim, and my mum was Christian. So it was a very diverse. I got to learn about both cultures, but one thing that they definitely made me do pretty much all the time was read. I was always reading and watching, tapes and videos of my culture. And I think that helped develop the person that I am today and where I've gone, especially always wanting to give back to my community and caring for my culture and wanting to embrace and help level up the community and my culture. So I think my parents giving me the education in terms of a lot of reading and keeping me very cultural by giving me that kind of education there about Black history, I think that's definitely helped develop the skills and the kind of attributes that I have today. As at primary school. I feel like primary school wasn't really my problem. It wasn't really at primary school. To be honest with you, my mum took me out of primary school quite a lot, which she shouldn't have. She would have probably got in trouble these days. But she used to take me back to the Caribbean pretty much for months on top of months. So I had a lot of education over there as well when I was young. So I was kind of in and out of my primary school years. In terms of going into secondary school now, the system was very, very hard for me. That's where it's a bit stricter and it's a bit more dictating. And being someone that's quite creative, especially, in always, challenging, opinions, I got into a lot of trouble at school. They call me disruptive. I spent literally most of my school time and time at school in detention or isolation. And yeah, it was really quite a bad experience for me. That got me frustrated. I was always getting kicked out, excluded, pretty much, every month, more or less, until eventually they finally kicked me out, and I kind of left without no GCSEs at all. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm quite a strong-minded person. Like I said, my mum and my parents, and from a very young age, they kind of anything that I put towards them, any idea or goal or dream, it was always, you can do it as long as you put in the work. So I came from quite a nurturing parenthood where nothing was impossible. everything was possible. And being so cultural, so cultured as well with my background, and going back to the Caribbean quite often, seeing how young people there, with lack of resources, were making major things happen for themselves. I think that it made me very strong-minded. So no matter what the system was, or how they treated me, or what they told me I was, I always knew that I had the skills to become great. And I think within the school system, they try to suppress that creativity, and they don't want you to be like that. If you are like that, the moment you are like that, they call you disruptive, or you got learning difficulties, and stuff like that. But I don't think that's the truth. Yeah, at the time, what happened at the time is, coming into my later secondary school years, going into year 10, eventually the school that I was with just said, we don't really want you here no more. They actually labelled me a thug, told me that I was never going to get, become anything of myself, and they kicked me out. And my mum had enough. Obviously, even though she supported me, and she was always had my back, she actually got to a point where she had enough, run up and down the schools for me. It got a bit quite stressful for her, and she decided she wanted to take me to the Caribbean. She thought I would get a better chance and a better education over there. Obviously, at the time, I didn't see that. I didn't see the the potential of me going to the Caribbean, because it's quite a small island, especially Nevis. In terms of entertainment and fun things to do, there wasn't that much at the time going on. So I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave my friends, my peer groups and stuff like that. But I gave mum a bit of a hard time at the time. But when I did go there, even then, at the very start, I went to secondary school over there, and it was a shock to my system, honestly. The education there was very hard. You would think, England's got the education, it's quite hard. It's quite, what shall I say? It's quite hard over here, but over there, it's very more educated. It's like another level. The kids there are very, very smart, and respect and manners was a major thing. So I remember getting beat one time by my school teacher for not having my shirt inside my pants, inside my trousers, not being, prim and proper for school. And he actually beat me with a cane, and I remember that day I was like, this is no joke. Do you know what I'm saying? This is no joke. And I think that was kind of the turning point for me, where to say, I do need to start getting my head down a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I did still have a few English ways. So over there kind of straightened me out. The fact that I knew that I didn't know when I was going to come back was a bit, it was a bit sad at the time. But honestly, now, it was definitely the best thing that ever happened to me, and my mum made a massive, a big choice for me. I think over there, just seeing, people, like, no matter what situation they're in, they're making things happen for themselves. Like, with the lack of resources that they have, honestly, they still make quite a lot happen. And what that kind of gave me is, it made me appreciate, what we actually have over here in the UK, and the kind of, the systems and the resources that we have. So I do think, like, it gave me kind of a non-excuse mindset, to see, kids living out of huts, and still making sure to get into, school every single day with no transport, and, 5 computers in the whole building, for 200 kids, lack of resources like that. It just made me realise, I can't have no excuses when I'm in England, because it is all put on the plate for you, almost. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And just literally life skills and survival skills. You're seeing people out there going, just little things like, people capturing fish, farming their own fruit and vegetables, and just things like that as well. I thought there was a lot of life skills that I learned from there, definitely. I think I came back about just before my 16th birthday. So I was there for just about a year and a bit. I came back. At first, I didn't get into college because I never had the qualifications. Like, I had no GCSEs. They sent me to a PRU, a pupils referral unit. That was a really bad experience, because that was like, that was in Newtown as well. So it was quite a rough area. You had young people that were involved in gangs from different areas. So at this time, I was being exposed to, gang culture and stuff like that. And then moving to my aunties in Neutrals at the time was quite, it's quite rough as well. because it's quite, at the time it was quite a gang affiliated area. So trying to keep out of trouble was definitely the hardest things, especially when a lot of my peers and a lot of people around me were kind of involved in certain activities and certain things. So I eventually got into a college where I was able to retake my GCSEs, my maths and my English. Once I got them, I was able to blag my way to a level 3 course, which you don't normally do. You normally have to go through level 1, level 2, level 3. But because it's in the potential in me, they put me straight onto the level 3. And I feel like college did it was a bit more for me, because it was, the coursework and the kind of essays that you're doing, it was more opinionated. As long as you can back up your own thoughts and your own opinions, then it's right. There wasn't really no wrong or right answer. It's kind of like university. And the teachers told me I was writing at a level 4. So at that time, I was developing, because like I said, I'm very opinionated and I like to challenge things, and I could put good essays and stuff like that together, backed with research. So it was definitely, that's where I excelled. I ended up getting all my A levels and stuff like that as well. Yeah, definitely. Well, during college, when I came back during college, obviously, I came back from the Caribbean. I'm living with my auntie now. At college, I had a teacher that showed me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was like my first self-development book. Once I read that book, I went on to read many more Think and Grow Rich books like this, and they really helped me get into enterprise and entrepreneurship. Like I said, I was living at my auntie's. We come from a low income family, so I needed a way to be able to fund myself as well, because at this point I never had, my dad was in America, my mum's in the Caribbean, I was just literally me here, living at my auntie's. So I was able to get into a bit of enterprise by reading. So I started setting up my own eBay and Amazon, where I started selling household items, hair straighteners, clothes, stuff like that, and I was making some good money. I was using my EMA money at the time, which was £30 a week, and I reinvested it into my side hustle at the time, which was eBay, and I was making some real good money at the time. And then I went on to university, and then when I went on to university, I thought I can set up my own business from here as well. The first one that I did start, it was a media company, which failed. At this time, I was going around, I was trying to get into businesses to help them with their marketing, but that didn't work. But then obviously after, I started a business called Mongo Sports, which I'm currently wearing now. I started out with my partner. It's a sports brand, and we sell online clothes. We sell it online, clothes for people that go to the gym and are into sports and fitness. And my business grew quite rapidly, using influencer marketing on Instagram and stuff like that. So using the social media platforms, and we've gone on from strength to strength. And now we're about to launch our new collection in a couple of weeks. And since then I've also gone on to run other businesses, which has been pretty amazing. So I currently run a social enterprise called We Shine Together, under the We Shine group. So we've got kind of like, we've got a group called the We Shine group. Under that we have We Shine Together, which is a social enterprise. What we do is we work we work with charities, and we set up campaigns to help raise money for campaigns. We also have our own campaigns where we're currently working in places like Zimbabwe, India, and Nepal. And what we do is we help sponsor school fees for kids to get education. We do a lot of work with the youth as well. So we provide enterprise workshops throughout the UK in schools, colleges, and hostels as well, where we're developing young people to get into enterprise by teaching them how to start their own clothing label. So we do a lot of great work, and the way we completely self-funded. We don't take no funding at all. The way we raise money is we actually, once we work with certain young people, we train them how to become sales reps and promotion reps, and we actually send people out fundraisers to raise for our campaigns, and it's been going extremely well over the last 2 years. And then from that we branched off with We Shine events, where we develop, this is more for the community, more for the urban inner city community, where we develop young people again. We get entrepreneurs from up and down the country, people that are on a Forbes list, to come in and give keynote speeches on how to start a business and how to maintain and run a successful business. So we have a lot of SME businesses in there, a lot of young black businesses, and people that just have an idea in their room could come to these events as well and get the inspiration that they need. And that we've run 2 successful events so far. The last one we had over 100 people, 100 young businesses, and yeah, that's gone from strength to strength as well. Where I want to go next is, with the events and the We Shine Together kind of side of things. I want to just make that grow that as big as possible. I want to be able to help as many young people that are coming out of urban inner city communities, because I've been there myself. I know what it is. I know the struggle, and I want to help these young people to get into business and just show them another way. Because a lot of people are getting, a lot of these young kids at the minute, there's not a lot of role models for them, and I want to be that role model. A lot of people are looking up to people that are making the fast cash, living the street life, and I think despite the negative that comes from the street life, there is a lot of skills that a lot of people have there, selling and negotiating and marketing your product. These are things that we feel like we can put into a legitimate business, and they could go on to turn over £100 million companies instead of selling their self short and risking their freedom on the street. Do you know what I mean? So I want to be able to help as many young people as I can make that transition, and that's kind of my role at the minute. At the moment, I do motivational speaking as well, so I want to become known for inspiring and making people's consciousness get to the next level as well. My mum's, she's very proud. My dad's proud. Everybody's really proud because, I did have a bit of a rocky start. Even though I knew it wasn't a rocky start at the time, I knew it was just obstacles and and blocks that I could build on. Literally, I've been quite strong-minded from a young age, probably because of the parenting that I've had, and I just knew that I would always be here. And I don't even feel like a lot of people, always saying, Cordell, you're doing amazing things and stuff like that. How do you do it? And because everything was very deliberate, I knew what I wanted from a very long time. So being at this moment in time, I just want to keep building and keep building. And yeah, they're very proud. Like, I was at 10 Downing Street not long ago. I've been in the Guardian. I've got a lot of press around me at the minute for the great things that we're doing. And yeah, it's humbling, but we keep working. We don't applaud ourselves too much. We just keep going and keep moving forward.